Hi, everyone. So glad to be part of World Wellness Weekend. My name is Kate, and I am the steward of communications and programs at WisdomWorks Group. And we are so excited to join you today to talk about Pillar 5, Purpose and Solidarity. And I am joined by Renee.
I'm the CEO of WisdomWorks. We're super excited to be talking to you about purpose. It is so fundamental to well-being and to just effective organizations today.
Yes. And while we could talk to all of them, like she said, this pillar has really become central to how we work with our clients, how we lead within the world. And so we're just going to have a conversation between the two of us on how purpose has come to life within our work and our personal lives, and what it means for you as leaders and as practitioners and as those trying to enhance their well-being through this one weekend celebration that we have going on. So to kick us off, Renee, I wonder if you can just kind of expand on what does purpose mean to you and how we utilize that and lead from that within WisdomWorks.
Yeah, that's a great question, because purpose is something that we've been talking about, as a company. We've been thinking about individually. We've also been working with organizations for the last few decades on for years. So it's a great question. It's actually pretty simple. Purpose is why we exist. So simple, but not easy, because why we exist can be a really big question, an existential question. If we are asking that personally, why do I exist? Why am I here on this planet? Why are we here as a team? What are we serving that goes beyond any of us individually? And so that's what purpose is. And what I find is most individuals and groups that are seeking purpose really create it together. It's not a needle in a haystack. It's not out there somewhere waiting for you to find the right answer. It's something that you create from within, and you create through conversations between you. So it's really important, and I can talk about it for days. But Kate, what's your experience, Kate, as far as what purpose means to you?
Yeah, I love the distinction you made too between kind of the individual's journey and one that we make kind of as a team or as a collective, and really speaking to kind of the solidarity part that I hear in this pillar, in that purpose can be an individual thing, and then solidarity is also when we can come together around a shared purpose. And I think I've experienced both of those. For me, the purpose of my life, or having a sense of purpose, has fluctuated. Sometimes I feel really driven and really clear about what that is. And then at other times, I feel like I'm going through a transition as to, well, what can this mean for me? And something shifted, and maybe I need to redefine or reclarify my purpose. And I would say that kind of working with the WisdomWorks group with you, I feel that it has become much more of a driver of how I make decisions in a way that I wasn't aware of before. And I think that has been really key, and it's making decision making much easier once I'm clear on the purpose, both my individual, but then also for us as a team. I've found that our shared purpose for WisdomWorks Group has allowed me to really support the decisions that we make, and make those in more effectively, and maybe in a little less time sometimes, mental energy that goes into it. And so I wonder, can you explain, what is the purpose? What is WisdomWorks' purpose? Why do we exist here? Because I would love to hear that from you and share that.
Well, we exist to create a world where everyone thrives. That's our purpose. And it has been the purpose from the start of the company 25 years ago. I would say it is the reason I'm here on the planet. And I don't know what I believe about reincarnation and how all that works, but I know that in this lifetime, in this period of time, I have been pretty clear, and I feel grateful for that clarity from a pretty young age, through not just insight that came to me, but actually through a lot of stress and challenge, and some traumas, and really realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's something that I can learn here through all of this that is helping me figure out who I am and why I'm here and how I can serve. So I want to kind of loop back based on that to some things that you just said about how it's actually supported you in working with WisdomWorks, but in clarifying your own purpose and our purpose as a team. And then, of course, the work we're doing with other organizations. When teams get clear about their purpose, and I could say this about individuals as well, but I'm going to talk about teams because of this pillar that's linked to solidarity or unity and how we connect with each other. When teams get clear on their purpose, when organizations get clear on their purpose, it gives them direction. It really gives them a sense of, here's where we're going together, and here's what we're aligning in an inspired way toward. So that's one thing. But so that can seem like a very kind of idealistic, I say, WisdomWorks, our purpose is a world where everyone thrives. I realize that in my lifetime, we are likely not going to have a complete world where everyone is completely thriving. I do understand that,
yeah.
but it's an aspiration that gets me up in the morning and gets me really excited. And that's important to have, especially when you find that you're going through periods of time that feel like they're drudgery, or they feel super stressful, or they feel super effortful, or they feel depleting. It's important to have a purpose that it's that thing that you connect to so deeply internally that it can help you reframe, find the energy to reframe that depletion as, okay, this is a period of time I'm going through, but there's something bigger that this is all about. There's something greater that inspires me. So purpose gives direction. Purpose is grounding. So funny that purpose gives direction, is aspirational. Purpose also is very grounding. I mean, in a very practical way, and you mentioned it before, you can be in a team meeting and find that a team is really swirling and there's lots of, what are we really doing here? And someone can say, well, why are we here? What do we exist to do together? And that kind of question alone can turn everyone's attention to, oh, wait a minute, let's really ground ourselves in our purpose instead of all these other conversations and swirls that we were in. So it can be super grounding. It gives us a lot of meaning. And I mean, it's directly connected to our individual and our collective well-being. When people feel like they are in something with some other people, like they're working on something of value to contribute to the world, or to contribute through their organization, or contribute to other people, or contribute to the planet, whatever their purpose is, you gain. We individually gain from that. We gain a sense of well-being. So I think spending the time to get really clear on, what is my purpose and what is our purpose together, is super worthwhile.
I agree. And I really love the kind of expansiveness down to the groundedness, and those really clear. And it reminds me of a client that we were working with when you and I both first started working together. And so I wonder if you can, because each one of those, as you were speaking, I could see how it got us through, because as you know, we all went through the pandemic, and I can see how the things that you just said can help get us through these very trying times and provide us a sense of direction when so much is unknown and we lack a sense of direction and never know when we're going to get out of it. Some people are still living with that and through it. In a sense, we all are. And so I wonder if you can speak to how this team really came together around their shared purpose and how it really supported them in staying together during the team and really strengthening that.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Melina Bianco.
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. So for everyone who's listening, Melina Bianco is a bakery brand that's part of Barilla. And Barilla is an international food company. If you've had some really fantastic pasta, it was probably from Barilla, because they have just really wonderful products and a deep dedication to regenerative agriculture and to their impact on the planet. So we have been real honored, actually, to work with them for the last few years. During the pandemic, the senior leader for Molina Bianco, the bakery brand, which, by the way, is not known in some parts of the world, like in the US, but in Europe, all across Europe and in other parts of the world, is just beloved as a brand. So the senior leader of that brand realized during the pandemic, like lots of really good leaders realized about their teams, that the team was losing a sense of morale, that everyone now, because they were working at home, was very isolated and kind of disconnected, disengaged. They had a lot of young people on the team at the time, and some of the more senior members of the team had been through a lot of just life experience that told them, okay, I can weather this. But there were a lot of young people on the team that were feeling like, I don't know that I can weather this. And then everything in between. So the team as a whole was not doing well, and that was showing up in their productivity. Julia, Julia Schwer, who is now the president of the bakery division for this organization, called WisdomWorks to help them design an experience. It lasted for about a year to help them basically redetermine how they would work together as a team, redefine, reinvent themselves as a team during COVID. So we worked with them on 3 levels. One was individual, me. The second was we, so as a team. And the third was their brand. And we were helping them relook at purpose as one of the elements, one of 19 elements of well-being, 19 pathways to well-being. But focusing on purpose, the individuals started to ask, what is my purpose? And not just my purpose at Barilla, and not just my purpose on the team, but what is my purpose as a human being in this phase of my life and work? You know, to really consider, how do I want to show up? And who am I? And who do I want to be as a leader, as a team member, as a human being, as a person in my family, in my community, and at work? So they got clear about purpose on an individual level. On a team level, they started really talking about what their purpose was as a team and what that would mean for how they wanted to show up through this pandemic. And then on a brand level, they started reconnecting to the purpose of the brand, which was pretty exciting because the brand was born, Molina Bianco. When you learn the history of Molina Bianco, you realize it was born out of a very, very difficult period of time in Italy. And it was born to support the caring and connection of people. And they had somewhat lost that sense of what that purpose was, but through the pandemic, reconnected to, this is the purpose of our brand. And it helped them activate the brand in whole new ways to support the well-being of consumers during the pandemic. So it was pretty exciting. We saw some fantastic results, and obviously we can share those with anyone who's interested. But yeah, as you mentioned, Kate, this purpose, you can think of purpose as like nested circles of, it's important on this individual level, it's important on this team or group level, but it's also important when you go broader, like at a brand level or an organizational level.
Right. And just one of the measurements I'll share, just kind of knowing this team now, which has been amazing during this time. We've gotten to know them, although we haven't been able to meet them in person. I feel that we've gotten to know them, through this digital medium that we have. And one of the results of that was higher engagement over the team and connection to each other. And so I think that's another thing that you spoke to. This sense of purpose really gives us a way to actually find solidarity with others and really connect and strengthen that, because we know that we're on a similar path. While our journeys may look different and have different elements of them, we can come together towards a shared pathway and just kind of be on the same, hiking trail, if you will, for a while. We might veer off, but we're always coming back and we're always going towards that next stage together. And I think that, to me, was one of the more interesting things to really see come out of that group and that client work for me personally, and just kind of looking back and the work that we do. And, you mentioned that Julia reached out to us, this leader kind of took it upon themselves to seek out a new resource. And one of the terms that we've used internally, and I wonder if we can speak a little bit to this, is this sense of purpose-driven leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And what it means to be a leader in this day and age, and how that's kind of shifted, and what do we mean by purpose-driven leadership?
Yeah. Before I get there, because you just made me think of something with something you just said, and then I promise I will come back to purpose-driven leadership, is that a sense of purpose helps us connect with each other more effectively, and more in a way that is more, the word that's coming to mind is intimate, but it's not intimate as in any strange way. It's with a sense of vulnerability and shared connection. So
authenticity comes to mind.
Authenticity. That's actually a better word. So a purpose helps us connect with each other with a sense of authenticity. It also helps us connect with ourselves, and it helps us connect with something greater than ourselves. So purpose is, a really effective purpose is really working hard for us.
Yeah.
Level, which is really cool. So purpose-driven leadership, my sense of purpose-driven leadership is leaders that are kind of facilitators, helping people to connect with that purpose within themselves, and on the other two levels. So at the team level, and something greater than any of us, something greater than the organization. As an example, any organization, and every effective organization, exists to make a profit. And now I'm going to be talking about for-profit organizations, but even nonprofit organizations exist. They have to make some money to exist, right? So they have to make a profit to exist, but that's not their purpose. So organizations that lose sight that their purpose is not to make money. Money is a facilitator of the purpose. Purpose is to fill in the blank. So like for everyone who's listening to this can say, for our organization, what really is our purpose? Right. So I said that ours is to create a world where everyone thrives, to contribute to a world where everyone thrives. We can ask ourselves, do we feel like we're operating on purpose? Like, do we feel like we're really operating in a way that exists to contribute to a world where everyone thrives? Every organization can do that. And to create a purpose that connects with the hearts and minds of people is not just a mental exercise, but something that people want to support with their life energy. Companies that do that, and now I'm just speaking beyond purpose-driven leadership, but companies that do that, I think also see a deeper connection with their consumers. Melina Bianco was an example of that. They found growth in their bakery brand during the pandemic, and that is not what other companies were experiencing with their products. Their team was doing better on all measures of well-being and kind of participative culture, and that is not what other teams and individuals were experiencing. So purpose can be that powerful of a force of connection between us and to something greater than ourselves.
Yeah. And so I wonder, if for those listening, what could they do right now? You mentioned the fill in the blank. What is our purpose? But maybe if I'm confused, I'm not really sure how to answer that. What's some exercises or maybe some strategies, and maybe we can share some links afterwards, but what would you recommend for getting that process started? Maybe if I want to be that purpose-driven leader.
Yeah. A couple of things that come to mind is there's really like two levels of things that come to mind. One is being on a personal journey yourself. So really, starting to go into a deeper inquiry with yourself. That can be with a coach, that can be with a trusted friend, that can be with within a workshop, that can be whatever, it can be through journaling. There are so many mechanisms that can support you in starting to kind of get clearer. And I wanted to say identify, but I don't like the word identify because it means if it makes it feel like it's out there somewhere and you're hunting for it, like you're changing a channel or, with a TV remote control or something. We're not hunting for purpose. We're discovering, how are you innately designed? How are you uniquely designed? Some of the things that give you hints to your purpose, and no one can answer, by the way, what your purpose is except for you. Some of the hints you get, though, are what are the yearnings you've had in your life?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that have happened in the world or in your life or around you that make you angry, deeply angry, like you feel some deep connection to, and you're not even sure why? If you start to go deeper into that, that usually gives you some indication to something you deeply, deeply, deeply care about. What are your natural strengths? What are the things that you can't even see that you're strong at? Because they just are part of you're just hardwired to kind of show up that way, whether it's serving people, whether it is maximizing the potential of people, whether it is playing music, whether it is spreading joy, whether it is problem solving, whether it is, again, it's kind of endless what the answers could be. But those are some hints. And if you don't have a clue, like you really don't have a clue, and I have totally been there, by the way, if you really don't have a clue, ask people you trust. Go have some conversations with people you trust and ask them some questions like, and it may feel a little weird, but the feedback you get will be awesome. I promise you, because I've actually done this exercise before. You ask people, how is it that you see me? What do you feel that I'm good at? What do you feel like my strengths are? What gifts do you think I bring to the world? Just ask people, and people you trust that care about you, they see you in a way that you can't even see yourself. And they can tell you spot on, here are the things that you do. If you ask even 3 people, I guarantee you'll get a pattern. So they will start to say the same thing with even 3 people. So that is one way to start on a personal journey. On a shared journey.
Just real quick, I just want to step in there because that just personally, that made me think 2 things. If you're worried about going out and talking to people, it's nerve-wracking. And like she said, you will get insights. And I've done it. And luckily, Renee is someone who now can do that for me. And the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes. So I'll just say that. But also the other thing that came to mind was this sense of purpose and identity, and it being something that never changes. I feel sometimes, and I struggled with this personally, in trying to identify my purpose, it felt that it had to be right and it had to be perfect from the very beginning, and that's, my own other things playing into that.
Like if you're
we can have a whole nother conversation on
perfectionist looking for purpose. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Perfectionist looking for purpose.
It's gotta be one thing. Yeah.
And so I think part of that, you used the word aspiration earlier. And I will say that was another way of describing purpose that made it feel a little bit more accessible to me for a while, and really getting clear about, okay, purpose feels a little too concrete or too final. And so aspiration allowed me to play with it a little bit more and feel that I could be on a journey towards something, but it didn't have to be defined for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I love that you're saying this, Kate, but for a number of reasons. One, because I do think we have, especially in the Western world or the Western mind, we've got this idea of sort of right, wrong, black, white, either or.
Yes.
You either got it or you don't. I got my purpose or I don't have my purpose. And that, dispelling that kind of either or thinking is just exactly what you're nailing here, what you're talking about. And I think it's really important. For my sense of working with people around their purpose is when you discover that thing that you either write or you say or you hear, but that's your purpose, it lights you up. It doesn't weigh you down.
Yeah.
It lights you up. When I say, I want to contribute to a world where everyone thrives, I am excited about that, as excited about that now as the first time I said it, maybe even more so. So it doesn't mean it doesn't come with a sense of responsibility, but it also comes with it a lightness. And so that's what when I was saying before, it's not a head game. It really is a whole body and full-hearted experience. So I very much appreciate you saying that to all of us, reminding me as well. The other thing you said is it doesn't have to be your purpose for a lifetime. You know, there are times, especially when we're in different phases of our life or in different phases of our team, or as teams come together and break apart, it has served its purpose. The team served its purpose. And so now it's time for the team to end well, not just keep on going or not just fall apart because we don't know how to, you know, what to do, but to really end well. We served our purpose. So yeah. And then the other journey that we were talking about that I was starting to allude to there is really a team journey. So another thing you can do is talk with your team, get your team in a space where people feel comfortable going wide and creative and expansive in their thinking. So this might be on a Zoom call, depending on how your organization is organized. It might be a walking meeting you're doing with your cell phones together. It may be like I've got here, that you're out in nature somewhere and that you're in a circle of chairs and you're just having a human conversation with each other about why you exist together. It's probably not the meeting room where you're doing all your task or project management. It might be that, but it would be good to clear that space kind of energetically to make it something different. Because conversations about purpose are, they're conversations about how we want to use our life energy together. They're not about how we want to manage tasks. And those are important conversations too, by the way. But this is about how do we want to be together? How do we want to use our life energy together? Why do we want to exist? Why are we coming together at this point in time? Of all the points in time there are, infinite, in our lifetimes, here we are together. And what do we exist to do? And that's pretty exciting. It's exciting and it's a privilege actually to be able to
feel the energy. Yeah.
It's a privilege to be able to have that conversation. It's a privilege to have that conversation.
Yeah. And I can attest to, and just being in conversations where we're supporting clients in doing that, or supporting each other in doing that for a Wisdom Works group, and that energy that comes from those expansive conversations. And then, like you said, though, it does help do all the tasks. It's just a different conversation of determining what the purpose is. And because another thing that came to mind was, kind of like I said in the beginning, it makes decision-making so much easier afterwards, the tasks and responsibilities. If I know that I'm on the same page with you and with our team, or even when we're working with a client, I know we're all going towards this together. And so it's easier, sometimes task-wise, but mentally as well. It frees up a lot more energy if I don't have to spend so much of that time figuring out if this is the right thing, right path for all of us. And a purpose really helps make that easier. And really,
I think you're so right. And as in so many organizations now that are trying to become more agile and decentralized and have more people feel a sense of autonomy and agency in their jobs, a shared purpose is that interstitial tissue that binds us together so that that sense of agency can happen. And that no matter where you are in the organization, that you can,
there's out behind you.
There's a little.
Sorry, yeah. Nature is happening behind you. Sorry, I got real distracted there. We were talking about something completely different, but thanks for showing up, guys.
And there's a whole group right there.
Sorry, back to what we were saying.
No, that's okay. Shared purpose is kind of that interstitial tissue that allows us to trust each other. That, we said we're in this together. Great. Now you go do your piece. I'll go do my piece. And we don't need to micromanage each other. Like we don't need to be checking in on each other all the time, because now we want to stay connected for sure. And we want to, of course, be checking in, of course.
Yeah.
But having a shared purpose that is really deeply held between people enables a more democratic organization, a more organization where people feel more empowered at all levels.
Thank you. I can feel it, and I can feel the energy that just kind of came out of our own conversation just now. And one thing that I wanted to come back to, and that we've kind of touched on throughout our conversation, is this term measurement of this, and really utilizing this for both for myself, but as a team. And I wonder if you can speak a little bit to how we support both ourselves and our clients in measuring this, so that they can have a foundation and a base point to start from.
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple of answers to that, but a key answer is, we built the assessment system a number of years ago with the University of Colorado, trying to identify what are the science-based pathways to support well-being and effectiveness, well-being and leadership impact. Mm-hmm. And vision and purpose is one of those 19 pathways. So there are 19 in them. I won't go through all of those here because that's not our purpose. Here, There you go.
See how back to that full circle. Yeah.
But vision and purpose is one of them, and it's actually pretty important. When we built the tool, in the development of the tool, and through many years, we found that if an individual or a group marked that they not only had a vision and purpose to guide their life and work, but they consistently used it in their decisions in life. So they not only had one, but they used it in decisions to guide their life and work. If they said regularly or always, mm-hmm. they scored higher in every other dimension of well-being, thriving, resilience that we measured. And then it's that important. Right. So one of the ways we do that is through that measurement system called Be Well, Lead Well, Pulse. And we use it at two levels. One is at an individual level to support the kind of personal journeys for well-being leadership. But the second is at a group level. So when we talked about the Melina Bianco example, we were able to use that as an assessment system to get just a baseline of where people were when we began the project. And then 1 year later, what happened? What changed, to really measure the effects. And I think that's important. I think it's important. It helps people, we get into projects and different journeys, and as we engage in them, they can just morph into something else because so much is going on in our life and work. So to have a punctuation point where we go, here's our baseline, and now here's where we are now. Here was time 1, here is time 2, and let's appreciate what changed. What changed in our behavior? What changed in how we operate and value each other? What changed in our relationship to ourselves? The behaviors and the mindsets that we have in place to really support our own well-being and our own sense of purpose in our own lives and work. And that's what we did. So that's been our primary kind of measurement system.
Yeah. Well, thank you. As we wrap up our conversation today, I wonder if you can kind of speak to, I'd love to get expansive now. And if we created a world where everyone can thrive, what would that look like? Like, what does that picture look like? I mean, I'm just getting chills even saying it out loud, which kind of speaks to why we work together, because I get energized by this vision as well. What does that look like? What do you envision?
Yeah, and I want to hear from you on this too, actually.
Cool. Okay.
I really do, because I get inspired by hearing other people's version of this. For me, it looks like a world where everyone feels responsible for their own well-being, as well as the well-being of each other. So we feel the sense of we exist not just for ourselves. We exist to support the well-being, the growth, the evolution of each other, as well as the planet, because we are living on this incredible living organism that every single day is supporting us, and we don't give her a lot of credit, and that's Mother Earth. So for me, a world with everyone thrives looks like that. I mean, it's kind of simple in my vision, and I know that is not simple at all. Our role in that, as far as Wisdom Works, is to support a different kind of leadership in that, to develop the kind of leaders that are on the lookout for situations in which they can uplift people, where they can be a source of thriving and resilience and resources for others, where they can maximize opportunities for people, that they see themselves as really connected to that kind of larger purpose. And those are the kind of leaders we're developing. So my vision within that bigger purpose is to have a global network of leaders and leadership development practitioners, coaches, facilitators, strategists, wellness practitioners. So people who say, I'm up for that. I'm up for that. And I want to be a part of a global network, a global community that is energizing that purpose. So that's what I'm up to. What are you up to, Kate?
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. And I think that, again, that's why we work together, because I feel that we share this desire to see the world that can operate this way. And I like that you said it's not easy. It's simple, but it might not be easy at times, and that we can get through these challenges and really create conditions, create systems, create these opportunities and ways of being together that can support everyone's ability to thrive. And that means that it all looks different. There's not one solution. And I think that sense of expansiveness and being able to hold the complexity, because that's a hard thing to hold, in that everyone watching this will have a different meaning of what it means to thrive, and to create a world where all of us can be connected and support each other's ability to thrive, while also gaining and receiving what we need to thrive.
Right.
It's just that vision of doing that. And I love that, one of the things that I say about why I love working with Wisdom Works is this is the type of leadership I have been seeking. One where I end our days working together, I end our calls with clients feeling more energized, more well than when we started, more informed and more supported than when we began. And that's such a different way of looking at our careers and our way of being, even in a community setting, with our families even, and really taking, like you said, responsibility for that vision and becoming self-aware. So going through that self-awareness process, which I think is part of this whole World Wellness Weekend. It's just that self-awareness of how we're using each of these pillars to enhance our capacities and our capacity to thrive overall, is how I would say it, how, we might say it. And
I'm
really enhance that.
I am really appreciating what your experience has been in working with Wisdom Works. And I appreciate it, not really just for me, but for us. There's more than you and I. There's a larger team and an extended network. And I'm appreciating it for us, because what is super important to me as well is that we demonstrate our purpose. It does not mean that we're going to be a perfect company, or we're never going to have a difficult conversation. In fact, we're going to.
Yes.
And
we have.
Difficult conversations, but that we are committed to holding those challenges and those difficulties and the ways that we bump into each other with kind of unconditional positive regard for each other.
Yeah.
And that is so important to me, that we strive to role model. I almost don't want to say we do role model, because it sounds like we've arrived, and I don't think we ever arrive. I really don't. On this kind of journey, I don't think we ever arrive. I really do think it is a continual process of learning and growing and evolving. And that feedback, what you're saying now is, your experiences, we're doing that.
Exactly.
So that's good.
are.
That's goodness.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to kind of talk about what we honestly get to talk about a lot. So
We
not to
do,
make
but we
everybody
haven't
else
talked about it
walk
like
in,
this
and
before. Yeah, we
exactly. Now
haven't.
we've invited others into our conversation, and I hope you all have heard something that you can take away and utilize and really support your own well-being. This whole weekend is a celebration of our, capacity for being well and all the different avenues and pathways that we can explore and experiment with to enhance our capacities to thrive. And so thank you all so much for joining us.